I remember the first time it clicked. It was on the porch at our place in Avalon, and Chris, who's an engineer, he decided he wanted to make a career change. So he called up his friend Ryan, and they did what they always did, like in college. They came and they started home brewing again. And they were making a beer, which is now our Cape May IPA. And so Chris wanted to make a career change, and he was talking to Ryan, and Ryan says, well, Chris, you really got to do something you really love or you'll work the rest of your life. And Chris just jokingly said, hey, I like making beer. And Ryan said, why don't we start a brewery?
At the time, I wasn't married, didn't have a mortgage, didn't have any kids. So I was, I didn't have the yoke of life on my back and I could fail. So that was the simple nexus of it. Plus, I loved homebrewing. And it was really something I was passionate about and took a chance.
It was that quick. There was no like real aha moment. And I had just spent like 40 years in pharmaceuticals, clinical research, and thought I was retired, but I really got reinvented. And they knew that they would need financing, so they said, do you want to get involved? And I said, sure, why not?
I wanted to open up a brewery in Cape May because it's a really special place. I grew up coming down here with my dad. We'd go fishing. While I grew up in Chadford, I lived all over the place, but it was always home to me.
Ryan actually found this place, and he picked it out. And my first question to him when we first came here back in 2010, this was like not very well developed. The airport was like a ghost town. There really wasn't much business here. And my question to him is, how do we get our money back? This ain't gonna work. But he had the vision that this place was a great place to start. And he was absolutely right. The people started coming.
And we're just trying to get this beer figured out, scaling things up from making homebrew to larger batches and still making it really delicious and have like the best quality that we could do with the budget that we had.
It was by demand. We never tried to become Budweiser. We were just making beer, good beer, and we made it so that if it didn't sell, we were going to drink it ourselves.
We would sell out, on a Saturday within a few hours, and it was so disappointing because we wanted to make everybody really happy. So it was exciting and stressful and really wild.
People enjoyed the beer, and that connection with the people was just wonderful.
One of my most memorable stories from the first summer that we opened was brewing our first batch of beer. There was a drain in the wall, or pipe that was sticking out of the wall for a drain, and so we hooked up the tank to the drain, and the drain, what we thought went out to the sewer, well, it turns out we walked into the bathroom and the bathroom was covered in water. We opened up the wall, hundreds of gallons of water poured out of the wall, the cavity of the wall, and it turns out the pipe just was cut and disconnected. And so that was our first batch of beer we tried to brew.
I didn't know anything about craft beer, but we had a boundless enthusiasm for making great beer.
It's wild to see how things have changed over the past 10 years. My role has certainly changed. It went from making the beer hands-on and selling it. My wife Casey was working in the tasting room. Like, we would all just do this together and figure it out. And then as things began to expand and grow, I would deliver beer, I would sell beer, and then I was working on making teams and developing teams. And now it's changed into looking further into the future and making sure that we're all rowing in the same direction and building a really great culture of transparency and openness and vulnerability, and really developing us as an organization. And that to me is so exciting.
Probably about a year after they opened, my brother and father came here every Wednesday, like religiously. And they're always like, oh, next time you're down, you gotta check out this place, it's so cool. So I walked in and Hank was back there with a can of tomatoes that he was trying to make a tomato beer with. I was like, whoa, this place is crazy. And I came out, and I remember I tried the Devil's Reach. That was the first beer I had. I actually enjoyed it.
So the first Cape May Brewing Company beer I ever tried was our alt beer. Control Alt Delete, as Ryan Krill explained it to me. I was a waitress at the Ugly Mug in Cape May. Ryan Krill was delivering in '01, which was a Mazda minivan, our first delivery vehicle ever. And from there, he took the time to sit with the waitresses and explain the local product and kind of what this beer was, because there's nothing else on tap like it. And we all kind of were like, this is interesting, okay. But it was just cool because it was back, I think it was like winter 2012. So it was like way back in the day when there really wasn't many people working for the company except for Ryan, Chris, and Bob.
My first memory of drinking a Cape May beer was at the Ugly Mug as well. And it was Triple Rec. I think I was at a tap takeover for Cape May Brewing Company that night, and it was the first tap takeover I'd have ever been to. And I ordered a Triple Rec, and I remember Ryan Krill turning next to me going, whoa, like that was a really big beer for me. And it was, but it was delicious.
So the first time I saw our beers on tap was actually at Cabanas here, right here in Cape May. And I felt really proud because it's something that we created from scratch. And there it was with a tap handle that I carved, 400 tap handles. I stopped carving tap handles. But it was the first time I saw our beer in a commercial establishment. And I was really proud about that.
First Cape May beer I ever tried and tasted was actually at the brewery. And I'm pretty sure it was Coastal Evacuation. I had actually just applied to the brewery at that point, and I actually went on the first tour through the new facility when they were putting the new cooler in. It was pretty nice. It was pretty cool. Got to talk to Ryan. It was definitely an interesting time.
There was a homebrew club back in 2013, January 2013. They took a trip here, and I'd been looking for an excuse to come down. Just never came down. I was living up in Mays Landing, and so I came in, tried the beers, was like, wow, this is awesome. I remember Hank, Bob, and Ryan were all here and chatted with all them, and I was like, this is a really cool spot. And we were tiny little place back then. And next time I came down is when I applied. That was April 2013. Got a job 2 weeks later, and been here ever since. So long time, definitely a long time.
I think it was 2011 or 2012. I had Hitching Post whenever that was made, because got me into craft beer was dark beers. And that was, I think, a stout with oak chips brewed in it, and I loved it. And then I found Honey Porter, and I tried that too, and fell in love with those dark brews. And then from there, tried all the IPAs and everything. But yeah, the first one was 2011, back at the original.
My first homebrew was brewed in my apartment with my buddy Jarrett. We brewed a orange wheat beer, and we made it in our bathtub, and it actually turned out okay. I think by today's standards, it would be not something we would sell, but at the time, it was something that it was drinkable, and that definitely spurred a lot of excitement around beer. It also ruined the bathtub. What surprised me the most about opening a brewery in New Jersey is how special this place is and how proud everyone who lives in New Jersey is of the Garden Estate. And to be a part of that builds something bigger than all of us.
Cape May Brewing Company, in my opinion, to our community, and I say our community because I'm someone who grew up, I always joke, like a Taylor Swift song away from our tasting room and production. I just think that it really has changed the thought process of what people have about what Cape May is. There's no longer just a lighthouse tour or a trolley tour to go on or just walking around the Washington Street Mall. And now there's other experiences, not just culinary, but also drinking.
From the very, very get-go, the ownership has always been, like it's a fun place to work, but we're a business. And the expectations of setting goals and achieving those goals has always been something that we've planned for. So just to see our growth and the growth in general, I mean, craft beer is just awesome. You knew it was going to take off. We got in at the right time.
There have been a few surprises in the craft beer world since I've started working here. I mean, the transition from everybody doing everything in cans all of a sudden was something that maybe we didn't know was going to be here for good or was just going to be a fad. Clearly, it's stuck around to now. Everything is in cans, even with us. But as far as just the total amount of craft SKUs compared to 10 years ago is bananas out in the field. Used to be maybe 1 or 2 shelves had 1 or 2 craft beers on it, and now there's whole doors, whole sections devoted, and the section that used to just be craft beer now is being dwarfed by just what the local craft beer is in stores and bars, restaurants, everywhere.
Yeah, I think the thing that surprised me the most was just the rapid expansion and the exponential growth. When I first started, I would go out with like 10 kegs and 10 sixtels, and we used to have a 5-case maximum. And now we have a 5-case minimum, and it's mostly case oriented. Back when I started, it was pretty much only bars and kegs specifically. It's insane.
One of the most important roles that I play and have played is being a voice for Cape May Brewing Company and all of our team members. And because alcohol is so highly regulated, if we're not telling our story, somebody else is telling it for us. So that to me is something I want to spend time doing and trying to advocate for us and other craft brewers in New Jersey. And a lot has changed over the years. One of the biggest changes that has happened over the years is the ability for breweries to be able to sell beer in tasting rooms. Prior to 2012, breweries did not have the privilege to be able to sell beer with a tasting room. And so once that changed, the whole world changed for us.
There was just a lack of really good craft beer throughout the entire state of New Jersey, and Ryan really helped put craft beer on the map in New Jersey. I mean, it didn't exist prior to this. So once we started, and now I'm happy to see that there's 160 breweries and growing. That's good. That speaks to people who want craft beer. There's a need for it, and it was an unmet need, and Ryan realized it early on. And that's why I think we were so successful. We stuck to quality, and we knew there was an unmet need, and here we are today.
What has surprised me the most in my time at Cape May Brewing Company and now Cape Beverage is the drive that all of us share, because we've all come from different backgrounds. We all have joined the team and we all share that common drive that I think is kind of rare. That was the biggest surprise to me, like how much we want to succeed.
One of our core values is to be a good neighbor, and I think Cape May Brewing Company has really been embraced by the community from its very beginning. It's very humble beginnings. People were excited about having craft beer in the community, and then, you know, our craft beer was able to expand to more people, and now today, you know, it's all over, which is exciting. I think, you know, as a value to be a good neighbor, I think that the community has embraced us so much, and that we've been able to kind of embrace them at the same time, and our gratitude for their support all these years, it's amazing.
Having a strong sense of community and collaboration is really a core tenet of the craft brewing industry. So being involved in the brewing community, in Cape May County's community, and New Jersey's community is really something we spend a lot of time and energy doing.
We have a ton of agriculture in the state of New Jersey, obviously called the Garden State for a reason. And especially down here in Cape May, we've got all of our fun boardwalk themed places and beaches and all the just fun nostalgia based stuff. So we've definitely taken a lot of inspiration over the years on our different beers. I mean, Crushing It at this point has become one of our most known brands, and that's inspired by the Ocean City, Maryland cocktail that has taken over the Jersey Shore at this point, the Orange Crush. And so we've taken a lot of inspiration on that over the years. And then we've used a number of other local products too over the years. We were the first brewery to make a beer with all New Jersey ingredients. That was a couple years back. We did the Three Plows. That was a fun one. All New Jersey hops and malt and yeast and obviously our water. Like I said, inspirationally, we do look to our area. We know our surroundings. We know what we're dealing with. And JP, with his culinary background, that's made it a lot of fun for he and I over the years. We do all kinds of small batch benchtop stuff as we're developing new flavors and new products and everything.
A couple of the one-offs we've done were inspired from different foods and stuff like that from the restaurant that I've actually done. And even the sodas that, you know, we don't use so much of the locally sourced stuff, but we still use Tony's Produce, who is a local provider, so that does kind of swing into that effect as well.
Local agriculture and ingredients really influence a lot of what we do. Cape May Brewing Company is not about Cape May the city, which is not just the beach or the boardwalk or the Victorian homes. It's really about the experience. And so that's what we do with the Cape May Brewing Company, is it's about an experience, it's about nostalgia inside of a can. And we do that with beers like the Bog that use cranberries, which are tremendously important to New Jersey, or locally grown hops or malt. And everything we do is really trying to stay central to our small region. We're just trying to be New Jersey.
If I had to pick my favorite beer from Cape May Brewing Company, it would be the Topsail. I have a really distinct memory of that beer. I went out to sushi one night with my husband and my father-in-law, and I said, hey, I'll just bring this bottle of Topsail that I had forever in the fridge. And we had this beautiful plate of sushi, and I opened this beer, and I was drinking this beer going, this is unbelievable. Like, this beer is blowing my mind right now. And my husband had the same reaction. And then just months after that, it ended up winning Beer of the Year. And my pride for that and my experience around that, it was so deserving, and I'm so proud of the brewers for making that beer when they did. It was amazing.
Can I name a few? Oh, awesome. I would say, if I had to break it down by category, my favorite beers, sours that we've done, Lady in Room 10, hands down, best sour we ever did. Wish we had more of it. I drank that till it was gone.
We all did. We all did.
I would say for a dark beer go-to, honey porter, awesome. And then IPAs, my favorite IPA that we have is Follow the Gull. It's my favorite, the best.
So crushable, light, crisp. I drink way too many of them at a time.
My favorite throwback beer, Cape May Brewing Company, was Original Recipe Corrosion, which was just at that time a blend of Coastal Evacuation and Tower 23 dry hopped with Citra, I believe. And that was the first like sour beer that I thought we did that other people would like. At first it seemed like sour beer was a little bit too much of a niche. We did them well, but we needed something that everybody could enjoy. And Corrosion was really the first one for me that I thought we would have some success with, which is now Key Lime Corrosion.
100% favorite beer, Coastal with Bread. I ask for it every time I go to the tasting room. It's just great beer. Love those bready boys. Second would definitely be Lady in Room 10, but that's not coming back.
My favorite beer is Cape May IPA, hands down.
Hands down, it's my go-to beer as well. It seems to be chosen by the fans every year. They just pick it. We don't tell them to choose Cape May. They could have picked any beer they wanted.
Just don't tell the other beers who said that.
Yes, but it is a great beer.
First beer that I fell in love with at Cape May Brewing Company was Turtle Gut. That was probably like my first introduction to a sour as well. If I had to say my favorite beer now, it's a tie between Corrosion and Crushing It.
When I first started working here and drinking craft beer, I think my first beer love, I would say, is Devil's Reach, which I feel like is a go-to for a lot of people. But as I, continued drinking and trying different craft beers and Cape May beers, I think I have to say right now my favorite is Follow the Gull. It's just a easy, crushable, hazy New England IPA.
Selfishly, I have to say it was our employee series that we did, but beers that we have now, Tan Limes, like from working in our backdoor program, I'm part of our team, to building out that beer from scratch, with the request of locals, guests, our sales team, what we wanted to drink, and what was missing from our portfolio, to helping build that beer as part of our backdoor, watching it do well in the tasting room, to then having it want to be scaled up, to then helping, with marketing, naming the beer, coming up with the icon, coming up with the whole story behind it. Spring day, fall, winter, whatever day, like it hits home.
In any given year, we do 50 to 100 new beers. So with the amount that we've done is just astronomical. For me personally, Follow the Gull is always going to be one of my favorite beers. I love that beer. Whitecaps is up there. Lady in Room number 10, that was a small batch sour. Most people didn't get to try it, unfortunately, because it didn't leave the tasting room, but that beer was money. And then for me, I get to develop all of our new beers that come out, so usually it's whatever the newest one I'm always most excited to try, and then I'll move on to the next one because we do a lot of different beers. So I'm usually working 6 months ahead on releases, and so by the time something comes out, I'm like, wait, that hasn't come out yet? Let me try it. Oh yeah, all right, cool, that did come out exactly how we liked it, how we wanted it to be.
One of my favorites was probably the employee series we did. We did the Maize Haze, which was the blue corn lager. It was such a crisp, clean beer, and you got to work with blue corn, so you got this purpley color that you got to watch it fall out as it lagered out. It was really cool. I really like that beer. I'm a big fan of Biscuits and Honey. I love Biscuits and Honey. That's such a good beer. Follow the Gull is definitely one of my favorite summer beers. Just easy drinking, nice and hoppy, refreshing. I love that beer.
I'm really proud of Cape May Brewing Company. I'm really proud of the products that we create. I love the way our fans engage with us on a daily basis. We hear from so many people, and it's so rewarding because we put so much effort into what we do and a lot of passion in creating the beers that people get to drink. And it's exciting when people embrace what we do, and then we get to enjoy that moment with them.
Just seeing how customers have grown from never being craft beer drinkers to loving craft beer now, or we still get new customers every day. It's their first time visiting, so that's pretty neat.
We expanded to other states not because we're seeking global domination, but because we were invited. We're trying to be very thoughtful and intentional about where we send beer, and it's not to be all over the place. But when folks ask for it and continue to ask for it, that says something.
For example, I've been to Great American Beer Festival out in Denver, Colorado, and just the amount of people that come up to our booth and they're like, I know Cape May, my husband was in the Coast Guard, my family vacations are every year, I've been there myself, and actually seeing people, like our second or third year there, seeing people in Cape May Brewing Company shirts coming to our booth out in Denver, Colorado, was like kind of really eye-opening. And it really, I think, like coming back to the office after flying home and sitting with Alicia and talking about like, so what did you get from it? Like that just like, for me, super proud, again, to be like, this is so fucking cool to be like, what? Like they know us. Like, and I still remember the days of the tasting room where there was only a handful of us and 12 taps not even on tap. So it was cool to see that.
We get to build something that isn't like beholden to like anybody else. We don't have like investors or like anybody to answer to. We get to build whatever we want to do. And so that's why we can do the things that we do, right? Like all the free lunches for everybody on Thursdays, the bagels, the going to Phillies games, like soon to be shift beers again. Like we give a ton back to all of our team members. And as we continue to grow and get more sophisticated, we give more back. We do the mini games in different departments, like that's fun. So my 3 words would be fun, enriching, and frenetic.
3 words to describe the surprise that we were able to make and expand great beers. I mean, if you make a 12-ounce can of something, and then all of a sudden you're going to make 12,000 barrels or something, and is that going to taste the same? And I was not sure that was going to happen. So there was some uncertainty moving forward, some insecurities. You're not knowing if you're going to fail, but we were so determined to make it happen. So I guess I had determination, and we were focused on quality. We just weren't going to quit. We were going to make quality craft beer, and we're going to put New Jersey on the map.
Every time we get to hang out, like not working, like we have fun at work, obviously, but when we get to go to the Phillies games or we get to do the barbecue, we all get to know each other. And I think the more we grow, the more important that kind of stuff is going to be so that we can all stay one big team.
I really enjoy all the events that we have here, like our Floral Fridays. We had Pick of the Batch one year. Hopefully we get to do that again. Our anniversary parties are always fun. Whether you're working them or just enjoying it as a patron, everyone here comes together and just has a good time.
Jake actually just reminded me of probably my all-time favorite memory at Cape May Brewing Company. We were volunteering and working the Pick of the Batch, and I decided to enroll in the Stein holding competition. It was myself, Danielle, Andrew Casey, and a few other random guys ranging from ages like 30 to 60, and I won, and I beat Andrew Casey in the final. So that was a lot of fun for bragging rights, and I also won tickets to the Black Keys and Modest Mouse concert, and that was the last concert I went to because of COVID, so pretty awesome.
I remember, I started right here in the tasting room actually, so it's fun to do this video in here. I started right behind the bar. I was just a home brewer that had a passion for beer and wanted to get into the industry any way I could, and I wanted to be a brewer, but I had no experience doing anything besides home brewing, but I had a lot of experience with customer service and working in the service industry, and so I got a job behind the bar, and started May 3rd of 2013, and that Memorial Day weekend, we had a rainy, I think it was Saturday, and you came in and out the front, that one door right there, because that was all of our production space over there, and this is our only way in or out of the tasting room, and it was an absolute, total madhouse in here. Line out the door, and we used to sell the token, the chips that you had to buy, and I just remember I was stationed we had one register up there at the front, and I was just stationed up there the whole time, and there was only like 2 of us that worked here at the time in the tasting room, 2 or 3. And We got Ryan and Bob and Hank, and they were helping behind the bar, and it was just an absolute zoo, absolute madhouse, and I'll never forget that. And then that summer was insane because it was just like, if it was a rainy day, like you couldn't move in here. It was elbows to elbow. Not much has changed because it's still like that on a rainy day.
One of my favorite memories from working at Cape May Brewing Company is when we had a Firkin tapping event at the Irish Mile, and it was a sour beer that was actually conditioned with Welch's grape juice, similar to the Perp, and it was very much overcarbonated, and Brian Hink and I both knew, because we sort of tried to mitigate the explosion that we knew was going to happen as much as possible. And when the barback hammered the faucet into it, it rejected the faucet completely, and this purple, sweet, gooey sourness just went all over the bar that we had just watched him spend an hour setting up. He had to dump the ice tray, cut all new fruit, dismantle everything, wipe it down, and put it all back together. And Brian and I just sort of did the Michael Jordan shrug, even though we caused the explosion.
One of my best memories before COVID hit was always going to the watering hole, having a beer or two or several at the tasting room. I didn't miss a shift beer in over 4 years. Those are the days. Go there, hang out. I knew everything about the company because I was there hanging out with everyone.
Bobisms. Oh my God, you really don't want Bobisms, right? I can tell you one real quick. Don't overthink it, just drink it. When we made the mop water, like we're sitting around the table and is it too much vanilla, too much cinnamon, nutmeg? And I just happened, just like walking by Hank, and you know Hank is like, you know, serious as a heart attack. And they're trying to figure out what was in the beer, was it the right amount of ingredients? And I said, don't overthink it, just drink it, it's mop water. And they said, you can't be that creative. And they Googled and they found out that was never used in commercial settings, so they were able to put it, it's on the cans that we make now. But don't overthink it, just drink it. I don't know, it's just one of those things, just came out. It was a lot of fun.
Most of my memorable times is more of the getting done work, and we would come right from next door and we'd sit out back on the picnic table and we'd all just hang out. It was like the end of the shift, everyone got done at the same time, everyone came over, sat down, we all got to hang out. Yeah, they were my favorite times. It's just walking next door after work and just hanging out with your fellow employees, just bullshitting about nothing. It's great.
Yeah, that camaraderie is definitely one of the coolest things. Like, you know, over there in the production world, we're just like, we're inundated with each other, and yeah, you know, you're literally on top of each other at some points of the day. You're tripping over, and it's like, you know, it's hot, it's sweaty, it's very physical, like very gross manual labor. And then afterwards, you're just like, all right, let's grab a beer, and you just grab a beer and you shoot the shit and you just like kind of relax, unwind. And we're over here in the tasting room and chatting with all the beer tenders and everyone that we'd only get to see once in a while. And you know, then the sales guy would stop and, oh, hey, Richie, what's going on, man? You see Justin, you see, you know, all the marketing will pop in that once in a blue moon. So that was always fun, that chance to get that camaraderie, to get the whole team together, like on those like unexpected, just like unplanned, like you're having a beer at the bar and then like somebody else shows up and then somebody else, and next thing you know, you're 30 deep and everybody's just hanging out and it's just growing. It's awesome.
Just this week, there was a group of girls that were here, and you could tell they were celebrating a future wedding. She had a little veil on, and it's just that same scenario occurs over and over again. People getting together with close friends, it's about the fun. They're getting together here and enjoying a beer and just talking about their future. And that does inspire me. And so when I see that kind of thing, I'm glad we could be a small part of that, to give them a reason to come here in a place where they can sit and enjoy a cold beer.
I totally agree. The thing that inspires me is seeing people have enjoyment, not just our customers coming in and enjoying our beers here at the tasting room or one of the bars and restaurants or at home, but also our team members who are like enjoying being a part of all this. And that actually is our purpose, right? And that's why we get out of bed in the morning, is to enjoy the moment.
Cheers.
Hey, happy 10-year anniversary from Cape May Brewing.
Cheers.
Happy 10 years.
Cheers.
Happy anniversary.
Cheers to 10 years.
Cheers to 10 years.
Happy 10th anniversary.
Hey, 10 years. Happy anniversary.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody. Happy anniversary, Cape May Brewing Company.
Happy anniversary, Cape May Brewing Company.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Happy 10. Cheers to 10 years. Cheers.
Cheers to 10 years.
Cheers, Cape May Brewing Company.
Here they are.